And now we shift our attention to money matters on the national level. Our commentators answer this question. Is it right to tie spending cuts to raising the federal debt ceiling?
Straight talk from the left and from the right.
Let's face the facts. America is broke. $14 trillion in federal debt. Entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare add up to a $100 trillion promise for which no money's been put aside. Cities, counties, and states have more trillions in collective debt or promises. With that in mind, we should not allow the Congress to borrow any more money to fund its overspending unless they agree to cuts in that spending. Seems simple enough to me. And those cuts should add up to at least as much as the debt limit increase. You want $1 trillion on that federal American Express card? Show us $1 trillion in cuts over the next 10 years. And for those who argue no increase, tell me whether you're going to cut Medicare or Social Security first, because our government doesn't even collect enough of our taxes to pay the costs of those.
Now, straight talk from the left.
Do you really want to tap dance on a cliff? That's the strategy of people who won't raise the national debt ceiling until they have a long list of demands satisfied. First, they want to sharply slash spending, cancel regulations, and maybe even repeal health care reform. The ceilings have been raised 10 times in the last 10 years, mostly under George W. Bush, and 74 times since 1962. But somehow, this time is special. What would be special would be if, for the first time ever, the United States couldn't pay its bills. That means it couldn't take the interest on the national debt, couldn't send out Social Security checks, couldn't pay federal workers in the military. Nobody knows what would get paid and what wouldn't. As one president declared, the full consequences of a default, or even the serious prospect of default by the United States, are impossible to predict and awesome to contemplate. That was Ronald Reagan, who needed the ceiling raised 17 times. We don't know exactly what happens with the first default in U.S. history, but we know this about tap dancing on a cliff. That last step is a killer.